I navigated through the aisles of Walmart with my 8-year-old daughter Lily. As we navigated the nearly empty store, an unsettling feeling crept over me. I dismissed it as paranoia, the consequence of watching too many crime documentaries. Yet, the sensation persisted, a subtle unease that clung to the air like a shadow. Lily clutched her stuffed bunny as we strolled through the toy section, her eyes gleaming with excitement. As we made our way to the checkout, I noticed an odd presence. A man, obscured by the shadows of towering shelves, seemingly watching us. My instincts screamed danger, but I dismissed it as paranoia, convincing myself it was a mere coincidence. The air outside was muggy as we stepped into the parking lot, laden with shopping bags. As I fumbled with the keys to unlock the car, I glanced around. There he was, the same mysterious figure standing at a distance, his gaze fixed upon us. My heart raced, but I chalked it up to an overactive imagination. "Mommy, who's that man?" Lily whispered, her innocent eyes widening with curiosity. "Oh, sweetie, probably just someone shopping too," I reassured her, though my words lacked conviction. We loaded the groceries, and I stole one last uneasy glance at the man, who remained an ominous silhouette against the night. The drive home felt like an eternity, every turn amplifying the knot in my stomach. The unease persisted, an invisible weight pressing against my chest. Upon arriving home, I unpacked the groceries, the mundane task overshadowed by the lingering fear. The curtains were drawn, the safety of our home shattered by an intangible anxiety. I tried to shake off the paranoia, convincing myself it was baseless. As the night wore on, the unsettling feeling intensified. I heard subtle creaks and imagined shadows dancing at the edges of my vision. I helped Lily prepare for bed, my gaze darting to the windows as if expecting the ominous stranger to materialize outside of our first-floor apartment. A knock echoed through the silence. I froze, my breath catching. The knock persisted, deliberate and unsettling. A chill ran down my spine. Gathering my courage, I approached the door. "Who is it?" I called out, my voice wavering. No response. I cautiously peered through the peephole, my eyes widening in terror. It was him, the man from Walmart, his face now visible, contorted into a sinister grin. Panic surged through me and I stumbled backward. I dialed the police and the man's laughter echoed outside the door. The operator's voice, a lifeline in the fear, provided a semblance of comfort. "Help is on the way. Stay on the line." I clutched the phone, my trembling fingers unable to dispel the terror that consumed me. The man continued his menacing laughter, each taunting chuckle a step closer to the edge of my sanity. Minutes passed like an eternity as I barricaded myself in Lily's room, huddled with her in the dim light. The sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder as the nightmare unfolded. The police arrived, their authoritative voices demanding the intruder's surrender. The laughter ceased. They found him, a deranged stranger with a fixation. In the aftermath, as the police took statements and secured our home, I clung to Lily, grateful for the protection that had arrived just in time. The eerie laughter still echoed in my mind. As the officers assured us of our safety, I couldn't shake the realization that the danger had been inches away, concealing itself within the routine of a Walmart shopping trip. The man's motives remained a chilling mystery. I waited outside Walmart, the harsh overhead lights casting long shadows across the empty parking lot. I just finished the late-night closing shift, and my anticipation grew with each passing minute. The air felt tense, a subtle unease settling in as the minutes stretched into an eternity. All my coworkers had already left. The night air was chilly, and I hugged myself to stave off the cold. I glanced at my phone. The digital clock mocked me with its relentless countdown. The routine of waiting for my father after work had never felt so eerie. As I stood under the flickering light, I noticed a car circling the parking lot. It moved slowly, its headlights piercing the darkness. A knot formed in my stomach as I observed the vehicle, a sense of foreboding clawing at me. I brushed it off as paranoia, convincing myself to mind my business. Minutes dragged on and the car continued its ominous loops. My heart quickened, a nagging worry seeping into my thoughts. My father was usually punctual, and the circling car felt increasingly out of place in the deserted lot. Fear gnawed at me as I decided to call him. The phone rang, each tone echoing the escalating tension within me. Finally, he answered, his voice a comforting presence. "Dad, where are you?" I whispered with a shaky voice. He assured me that he was on his way, apologizing for the delay. He explained that he had been caught in traffic after an accident on the highway. Relief washed over me as I heard the familiarity of his voice. I scanned the parking lot, hoping to catch a glimpse of his car. As the minutes ticked by, the circling car intensified its presence. My nerves were on edge, and I strained my eyes to see who was inside. The vehicle moved closer, its headlights revealing an unfamiliar face, an unsettling stranger with an inscrutable gaze. Panic seized me as I clutched the phone. "Dad, please hurry, there's someone here and I'm really scared," I pleaded. The circling car halted. In that moment, the parking lot seemed like a desolate wasteland, and the flickering light overhead cast elongated shadows that danced around me. My father's voice reassured me, promising to be there soon. My eyes darted between the approaching car and the entrance of Walmart, praying for the familiar sight of my father's vehicle. Finally, headlights cut through the darkness as my father's car pulled into the parking lot. Relief flooded me as I sprinted towards him, the circling car now lingering in the distance. I hopped into my father's car, trembling with a mixture of fear and relief. "Thank you for coming, Dad. That person was so creepy," I uttered, quivering. My father, sensing my distress, comforted me and assured me that they were safe now. As we drove away, I stole a glance at the circling car, its eerie presence fading into the night. However, the sense of unease persisted. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, and the lingering fear clung to me like a shadow. The street seemed darker, the night more ominous, as we made our way home. Upon reaching our house, I expected a wave of relief to wash over me. But as I stepped out of the car, the realization struck like a bolt of lightning. My father's comforting presence had masked the absence of my own reflection in the car window. A profound terror gripped me as I stared into the glass, only to find an empty parking lot behind me. The truth revealed itself with chilling clarity. Her father had arrived, but she was nowhere to be seen. The phone in my hand rang, and a voice echoed through the speaker. It was my father, confusion and concern evident in his words. "Where are you? I'm right outside. I don't see you." A ghastly realization dawned upon me. The parking lot eerily quiet. The circling car, the strange gaze, the inexplicable fear, all elements of a sinister plot that had unfolded under the cloak of darkness. His voice on the phone continued, "Hello? Please answer, where are you?" The world around me shifted into a nightmarish reality as I stood alone in the deserted parking lot. The circling car, now a distant memory, had achieved its malevolent purpose. The hum of bright lights cast a sterile glow over Walmart as I manned the cash register. Mundane transactions and the rhythmic beeping of barcodes filled the air, creating a monotonous background to my workday. She approached the counter, an enigmatic figure with a veil of shadows concealing her features. Her presence was unsettling, a silent disruption to the routine of my cashier duties. Dressed in an antiquated black coat that seemed out of place, she placed a few items on the conveyor belt. A pack of tissues, a small mirror, and a peculiar silver locket. I scanned the items mechanically, my eyes meeting hers briefly. A chill coursed through my veins as I glimpsed her hauntingly vacant stare. It felt as if her gaze lingered on my soul, probing the recesses of my being. "Will that be all for you today?" I asked, attempting to conceal the unease that gnawed at me. She nodded, her movements unsettling. As she handed me a crumpled dollar bill, our fingers briefly touched and a shiver ran down my spine. The exchange felt strangely charged, a connection that transcended the ordinary. I handed her the receipt and change, trying to shake off the discomfort that clung to me. She lingered for a moment, her gaze unwavering. "A gift for you," she whispered, sliding a tarnished silver locket across the counter. My brow furrowed in confusion, but before I could respond, she vanished into the aisles, leaving an eerie silence in her wake. The locket, heavy in my palm, emanated a strange energy that unsettled me. In the following days, the encounter lingered in my thoughts. The locket, now a haunting reminder of that peculiar transaction, rested on my bedside table. I found myself drawn to its mysterious allure, not able to shake the feeling that it held secrets beyond my comprehension. As the days passed, an inexplicable malaise settled over me. A persistent fatigue gnawed at my bones, shadows beneath my eyes deepening with each passing night. The locket, its presence magnetic, seemed to whisper cryptic secrets that eluded my conscious understanding. One evening, the woman from Walmart appeared in my dreams, a spectral figure with hollow eyes. "You carry the gift of mortality," her ethereal voice echoed. "The locket binds you to the inevitable." I awoke in a cold sweat, the weight of an impending doom pressing on my chest. Rationality clashed with an irrational fear, and the line between dreams and reality blurred. Days turned into a relentless descent into a waking nightmare. The locket, once an object of curiosity, now seemed to pulse with a malevolent force. Strange visions haunted my waking hours, of decay, pestilence, and the inevitability of an impending end. As my health deteriorated, I sought solace in the labyrinthine aisles of Walmart, the place where the curse had been bestowed upon me. The woman, an elusive specter, materialized intermittently, her presence a harbinger of doom. One day, as I manned the cash register with trembling hands, a familiar figure approached. It was her, the woman who had unknowingly bestowed upon me a gift laced with morbidity. Her hollow gaze met mine, and a sinister smile played on her lips. The locket, once a mere trinket, now hung heavily around my neck. Each breath felt like a struggle, as the invisible threads of mortality tightened their grip. The woman's eyes glinted with a perverse satisfaction, and a cruel realization dawned upon me. "Your gift," she whispered, the words a venomous hiss. "A dollar bill tainted with the essence of death. The locket seals your fate." I clutched the counter, the weight of impending doom suffocating me. "Why?" I rasped, my voice a mere whisper. She chuckled, a macabre symphony that echoed through the sterile aisles. "Random acts of malevolence, my dear. You were chosen, and now the inevitable awaits." The days blurred into a haze of despair. My body, once resilient, succumbed to the insidious infection that permeated my being. Each breath became a laborious effort, and the locket hung like an anchor, dragging me into the abyss. As the woman's ominous visits continued, my reality fractured. Shadows danced at the periphery of my vision, and the whispers of impending demise grew louder. The truth unfolded with cruel clarity. The locket, a conduit of malevolence, had bound me to a fate orchestrated by the woman's cruel whims. I confronted her, my weakened frame trembling with defiance. "Release me from this curse," I pleaded. Her laughter echoed through the desolate aisles. "There is no escape, dear. Embrace the inevitable." Days turned into a gruesome spectacle of decay. My body withered, a hollow shell succumbing to the relentless grip of the infection. The locket, an anchor to the macabre reality, weighed me down with the inevitability of mortality. In the sterile confines of Walmart, I confronted the woman one final time. The hollowness of her eyes mirrored my own impending demise. "Why?" I rasped, my voice a feeble protest against the cruelty of fate. She leaned in, whispering a spectral promise. "Random acts of malevolence, my dear. The world thrives on chaos, and you were but a pawn in its twisted game." As the final moments approached, the woman's form dissolved into shadows. The locket, a relic of doom, clung to me until the last breath escaped my lips. In the aftermath, Walmart returned to its semblance of normalcy, the aisles buzzing with shoppers oblivious to the tragedy that had unfolded within its sterile walls. The dollar bill, tainted with a deadly infection, continued its circulation, an unwitting accomplice in the randomness of malevolence.